If more of you supported the show, I'd be less sick of podcasts.
The blah blah blah.
Sending out good vibes.
The blah blah blah.
Good vibes.
Blah
Good vibes.
the blah blah blah.
Good vibes. Good vibes.
108 breaths of deep gratitude and prayers for guidance and protection. And put on a didgeridoo and shamanic drumming track. Shivers or vibrations and stuff like that.
It works on those people, not me, right? I'm a buttoned up engineer, right? And of course, like the very first hypnosis we go into, I'm having these profound experiences, like.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Grimerica Show. We are going to be chatting with Holly Duckworth PhD a little bit later. After our lazy ramblings, which you can skip ahead if you like by checking the timestamp in the show notes. You do that right now before Graham even says a word. Just ready, go. We got everybody's favorite podcaster here, short and stout. Dunlop, how's it going, buddy?
Good. It was a week of gratitude podcasting wise. Yeah, it was a good one.
Was
good
it?
Week. Yeah. Felt like it was a good week. We got some good weeks coming up too.
Do we?
Yeah.
They have a week off coming up.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I don't have a week off.
You wouldn't call it a week off?
No.
Gallivanting around? You'll have a good time.
Yeah, it should be good. Yeah, we're talking about Montana. I keep thinking it's Montana Scablands, but I guess it's not really Scablands. That's Washington, right? So it's Montana Mega Flood with Randall Carlson. That should be fun. It's a sold out event. We'll be traveling around Montana for a week and a little bit of Idaho.
It's all the same. Yeah, it's all the same. Same
Well, no,
stuff.
it's more in the mountains, this one, though, right? Like
Yeah,
the
but it's the
Scablands is
same,
kind of
like,
same flood in
same
a way.
flood.
Yeah.
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 Just later on. This is the second half. This would be the second half of it. So hopefully it's rocking. I mean, it's always a little nerve-wracking going to that first one. We've never been to these places. I mean, I've been to both of them, but I've never been to them with 40 people.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
but everything should go well. And then, of course, if you guys want to get in on running the Randall Carlson tours, we got a couple more coming up this fall. That's the last sort of stuff we have going this year. 2 trips in the fall, both at the very end, the tail end of September. So if you guys want to get into that, head over to contact@thecavern.com. Sign up today.
And those are Washington Scablands, right?
Those are
based out of
Washington.
Soap Lake. Yeah, Soap Lake, Washington.
Yep, that's correct. It's going to be a good time down there.
Yep.
So what you been up to? Have you left the house lately?
I try not to. I got, just got stuff to do inside the house.
You try not to.
I took Zeus for a walk today.
You try not to leave the house?
I took Zeus for a walk, Yeah, he's been walking.
You'd think when you switched into working from home, you would try to leave the house.
Well, why I've got work to do here? Why leave or what? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, you're looking a little pale.
I go get groceries. I try to get some sun, but the weather's been kind of shitty. We had one nice day, but now today it's thunder showers. Tomorrow thunder showers. Like
we need rain.
Like,
it's been nice for months.
No, it hasn't been. It hasn't been.
This is the guy who tries not to leave the house. Maybe I should get you like a sun lamp or something.
Well, yeah, let's look for secondhand tanning booths, and we'll get some UV in that way. Yeah, let's do it. I'm open to that.
Let's get you a secondhand tanning booth.
Yeah, or we can put it at your place, and I'll just come over and I'll jog over and do it.
You'll jog over. All right. I almost want to buy a tanning booth just for this. I think a tanning booth is not super cheap.
Well, they might be. They might have them now. I mean,
you don't want the old
light bulbs all the time,
you don't want the old fucking cancer booths, right?
No.
Let me see. Let's see what the secondhand market is for a tanning.
Make sure
booth.
they've got new bulbs, because I bet you it's a few $100 just to replace the bulbs every 6 months.
All right, tanning bed. This is going to get me probably a bunch of ads. To go tanning. Oh, huh. So here's one. Looks like a spaceship. Barely used, in excellent working condition. Does not need a special plug.
1900.
240 volt. Paid over $6,000.
Wow.
Same as a stove outlet. $1,500.
Wow.
Yeah. You think that's the one that fucks you? It seems to be like there's another one for $1,500.
I mean, you got to do the research and make sure it's the right UVB or UVA or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, you just like fry yourself. But here's the thing: you should really just get out, because here's one for $500. I
will. I mean, I do get out. I mean, I get out for walks and stuff. It's different when you work from home now. It really is. And at night I'm working from home, and in the day I work from home, and so I go out for groceries and stuff. But I'm not playing hockey right now, and I'm not doing the recovery meetings anymore.
I would say you're like retired from hockey. When was the last time?
Well, they're trying to get me to go out, but I just never make it. It's just my schedule keeps conflicting with it. So, and I lost my gear, to be honest with you. I don't know where my gear is.
Ice hockey?
No, ball.
All right. What gear do you have in ball hockey?
I got everything, dude. The helmet, the gloves, the elbow pads, the shin pads, the knee pads, the shoes, like, you're pretty much all geared up except for the shorts and the shoulder pads. I mean,
so here's the one.
The skates.
Here's the good one. The Sunmaster Clear Tech. Only if it's 5 years old, only imported out of the States. $2,700. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, Calgary
it comes with a bunch of spare bulbs, though. 12 spare bulbs.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, it used to be sunny here all the time. Now I'm worried it's already June, and we haven't really had a nice sunny spring.
I mean, you're pale, and it's June. Like, look at me.
I know, but it's not my fault.
I'm cinnamon and out. It's not.
I'd be out if it was sunnier. I'd be out more.
It's not my fault.
I'll take responsibility when I.
Hopefully you'll get
when I should.
Hopefully you'll get a tan at CAC.
I was thinking about that though, because last time I got a little burnt too, because I hadn't been out. So I do have to build up a bit of a base this week.
You got a little sunburn on your nose.
I did. I had it on my cheeks there, my nose a little bit.
Yeah. Well, if you like cruise into September and you're still all pasty, then you're not really.
Then it'll be a problem.
You have to be eating oranges so you don't get, what's that? What do you get? Jaundice or?
Yeah.
It's not jaundice, is it? It starts with an S, I thought.
No,
scurvy?
You're right. It's no.
You get scurvy.
Oh yeah, scurvy is probably what you're thinking now. That's what the sailors. The sailors all got right. Yeah. Anyways, I do have a project operation. If you want to do it, it's a pretty short one. I do have a quote. I got a quote.
One of your own quotes, or
nope.
Huh.
And I got a little synchronicity if we want from a listener.
You got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't leave the house all weekend.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, apparently this is something people should aspire to. Yeah, the Dunlop regiment. Great, you're picking it up. It looked like rain mostly because the kids were both under the weather. They're bounced back now, but maybe we'll run out tonight. We'll see for a little bit. Get a house. We strive to get out of the house around here, but
well, hey, I love my home and I don't need to get out. I mean, honestly, it's raining right now even. So, I mean, I've spent like 40 years in Vancouver in the rain. So
we rearranged the living room a little bit. So
nice.
So, all right, what do you want to start with? What do you got? What do you want to start
whatever you
with?
want. Because last time I asked you to start with something, you gave me a curveball.
Yeah, and you didn't even have it.
Else,
you didn't even have a quote.
I know, because I told you I didn't have it. I mean,
your schedule is so jammed up, you
curve.
can't come up with a quote. Well, all right, we'll do this.
What's that noise? Looks military to me. Definitely military. Probably classified, too.
Dishfire, Prism, Sentry Eagle, Sigma, Mannequin, Artichoke, MK Ultra. Operation Project.
Have you been hearing a little bit about last week's Project Operation in the news? I mean, it has been gaining some traction. They talked about it at No Agenda, a couple other things. Operation Jenner is what it was called.
What is Operation Jenner?
That head
again?
pharma guy got busted for paying somebody to fake his jab paperwork.
Ooh,
I mean, it's unbelievable.
I heard. I mean, who would fake their jab paperwork? Come on.
Well, especially if you work for pharma. I mean, that's got to be,
Like you don't just know someone who can just say they gave it to you.
I know.
Well, I guess you got caught. That's what you did. You got caught. So, I mean, I know a ton of people faked it. They're probably not going to get caught though.
No, exactly. But it's alarming when it's the people that shouldn't be because they're famous and they're the ones that are, been virtue signaling about it.
Well, I seen sudden adult death syndrome trending.
Oh,
on
no,
Twitter today.
they're calling it something else. It's not sudden
SADS?
adult. No, I made up SADS a long time ago.
You made it up.
I did. Sudden adult, exactly how you described it. Sudden adult death
Well,
syndrome.
you might
But now
as
they're
well.
calling it something
You
else.
might as well make it up since you're at home all day.
They're calling it something else now, though, dude. I mean,
Well, that's what was trending on Twitter. Sad.
well, yeah, but it's not sudden adult death. It's something else now. I'll find it right away here. I was gonna.
You made up a new one.
I had it.
They didn't get the memo.
Sudden arrhythmic
Cardiac.
arrhythmic death syndrome. Sudden arrhythmic.
Huh. What's that mean?
ARRHYTHMIC. I can't see it any other way. Arrhythmic. Yeah. It's when someone dies suddenly following a cardiac arrest or no obvious cause can be found. So now it's a syndrome basically.
Huh.
But yeah, I'm claiming SADS a long time ago.
You're claiming it.
Yeah.
Seems like bad mojo. I don't think you made it up. This is the first I've heard of it.
Well, dude, somebody will
talk
back
to you
me
probably
up.
more
A
than
listener
any
will
other
back me
human
up
being.
because it went from SIDS to SADS, and I
You
said
don't leave your
adult
house.
death.
You don't
Well,
leave
what does
your
that have
house.
to do with anything? That
So who
means
do you
that's-
talk to more than me?
I talked a lot, dude. I'm on the phone all the time. I talk.
Saying sats. All right. Well,
Okay, Operation.
you got COVID again? This is the problem. You're going to get COVID again because
My
you
immune
don't leave the
system's
fucking house.
Operation Tomahawk. This isn't when Darren goes over the border and says, "Well, I got
my
on me,"
tomahawk.
and they let him go through right away because that could be considered Operation Tomahawk. And it's also not the airborne military operation by the 187th Regimental Combat Team in the Korean War. It's not that either.
It's
a
going to
new
be
one.
interesting
It's a new one.
to see how
Called
the cross-vehicle border crossing goes.
Operation Tomahawk. Support
We
companies.
should call that
sup-
Operation
Oh.
Tomahawk.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, I should bring yours, and I'll get
Yeah.
busted with it. And I'll be like,
It's not mine.
"It's my Indian friends." And, we need to see some official paperwork for that.
It would not be cool if you got my tomahawk taken away
I know.
because you can't
So-
keep a fucking straight face.
So, support companies that support freedom. Vote with your dollars and ensure that your purchases are supporting companies that promote freedom. Join millions of other shoppers that have made the switch already. Operation Tomahawk is your chance to take action and be part of the movement to switch to affordable American-made consumer goods. Learn how you can join the movement. Watch Operation Tomahawk, hosted by Patriot Street Fighter Scott McKay. Learn how patriots across the country are coming together to make a difference. So, family-owned manufacturers, comparable prices, non-toxic products, support American families. No mainstream advertising, made in the USA. The illusion of choice. There are hundreds of consumer goods brands in our country and the vast majority of them are all owned and controlled by just a handful of megacorps. Even when you think you are buying natural products, in many cases, these natural companies have been absorbed by these giant corporations. And there's a big graphic here with, of course, P&G, Coke, Pepsi, Kellogg's, Mars, all the main Nestle, all the ones underneath them. It's pretty crazy. And then it goes into like consumer goods. Where does your money go? Support America, testimonials, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. I think it's a good idea to have a link to companies that make a difference.
There you have it.
So I'll put the link to that in the show notes. Switch.patriotstreetfighter.com.
Patriot Street Fighter?
Yep.
Huh. I just thought that was a pinball game. Speaking of companies trying to make a difference, head over to adultbrain.ca, get some audiobooks. We just came out with lectures on ancient philosophy.
Yep, by Manly P. Hall. It's like a secret. It's like a Secret Teachings of All Ages companion.
Volume
it's pretty
2.
good.
The unofficial volume 2.
Interesting stuff.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was good. Yep.
Hints on esoteric theosophy is in the ringer, but that lectures on ancient philosophy is out now. Check it out today.
So is something else, right? History of the Supernatural book too, right?
Oh, yes. Yes.
And that is another great one.
You check both those out. You do bam, bam. Number 1, number 2.
They're both long. They're both good.
If you got the 2 Manly P. Hall ones and the 2 Supernatural ones, that'd be like 100 hours or more. That'll keep you busy for weeks, months. Check it out. Adultbrain.ca. There's a tab right at the top. Our books on Audible will take you to the entire list. Everything. There you have it. So.
And there's always links in the show notes to all this stuff we talk about. Just scroll down. There's all the there's links to the chats, to our other websites, to, other shows, all kinds of stuff in there.
All kinds of stuff going on. All sorts of stuff. So you ready? You got a quote this week? Did you manage to come up with one?
I did. Yeah.
Such a hardworking guy.
It's the profound quote of the week. Darren, can you guess it? It's the profound quote of the week. Can you guess the human who spoke it or wrote it down? Profound quote of the week.
Okay, ready?
I'm ready. Did I guess the last one? Was it the last one?
What?
Bob Marley?
Oh, you did. Yeah, you did. That was good. Yeah. It has been said that once the mind has been expanded by an idea or concept, it can never return to its original way of thinking.
Albert Einstein.
No. Dolores Cannon.
I should have known that. We should play more poker.
Do you want me to do another one from her quickly? I'll do another one. Love is the most powerful force in the world. If people tell you that the opposite of love is fear, it is not so. Love just is. Love has no opposite. Remember that, dear one. Love has no opposite. Love just is. It is the answer to everything. Everything.
What's love got to do with it? Got to do with it.
Everything.
Everything. It turns out everything. So that is, speaking of what's love got to do with it, we had a fantastic chat with our brothers from down south, the Snake Bros. What a chat. That shit is mind blowing. I still can't believe no one else is talking about this.
Are you talking about the Rockfin one that we're doing? Yeah. Right?
Rockfin. That's fitting for that one.
It is.
Because they did all that with a rock fin.
I agree with you, man. I think they're on to something huge, to be honest with you. Putting it all together like that, with that theme, with that sort of philosophy,
I was just saying to someone the other day that the bros will be on Joe Rogan with Ben not talking about that stuff. It's crazy. Do I want to explain it? No. I can't explain it.
Well, no. Do you want to explain what the presentation's about, or?
Oh, well, we'll just throw the thing in. We'll throw the highlight reel in here, and you guys can take a listen. Decide if you want to go check out Rockfin and a Rollin'. It's pretty mind-blowing stuff, though. It's probably the most damning evidence I've seen for geomanipulation of some sort.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. And so basically what it is, I have to say it. I can't just leave it out.
I would just say
It's-
straight up that meant it was geopolymers or whatever the fuck they call it, but it can't be because there's quarries. It's in the quarry too.
That's right. Exactly. So they're showing that basically it's like they dropped their fucking tools all over the world.
No, that's not.
Yeah, I like that. It's like all over the world at some point in these megalithic sites, the projects were just left unfinished. Like they dropped their tools and went somewhere. And they show all these examples in Egypt and even then all over the world, but they're very similar. You know, these tools are being used that nobody can account for it. The mainstream explanations are completely bunk. And the way they show it all in this presentation is pretty mind-blowing. Like, to me, it looks like there's some kind of alchemical or some kind of like electrochemical operation going on or something. It's like they're scraping granite like butter knives, you know? That's the way it seems to me.
That's what it seems like.
And then I thought about all this Tartarian nonsense. And the mud floods. Like, what if that technology that they used, right, to do that they show in this presentation was used on a mass scale and created a dissolution of stone in all these other places, you know, responsible for the mud floods? Like, what if it's the same thing? Like, what if it turns that shit into mud and that's what the flood is? And the mud floods was that technology was stolen and abused by somebody.
The mud floods?
The technology that the Brothers of the Serpent show was stolen and used en masse and created the mud floods.
Do you think they'll use it against us?
Well, it's too late now. We're not even megalithic anymore. We're all wood and
we're wigglithic.
Synchronicity, it's time for another installment of the Canadian Third Party Synchronicity Rating Authority.
I didn't catch this earlier. I think this is from one of Bill Loebe's friends.
Bill Loebe? I still say
Oh,
Loeb.
it's Laura.
I still think it should be Loeb. I think he's
Hey,
mistaken.
I know, me too.
I think
hey,
he's mistaken.
Raphael, aka Darren. I guess you're Raphael.
A bunch of people said that I should be Donatello instead, and I'm not sure if that's racist or not.
Please share this with Graham. I don't have his email. By the way, my email is at graham@grahamerica.com. graham@grahamerica.com. Send over your feedback, synchros, trip reports, sightings, spiritual experiences. What? No pics. Mind you, I did get a pic here, but this is a pic of something else. I planted some veg I got from Lobe on Saturday in my garden yesterday. Waited until nightfall to do so because last night was a new moon. This morning, my eldest daughter sent me a pic from St. Simon's Island in Georgia, where she is on vacay with her fam. I just finished episode 549 with Benny Wills, where the beginning was turtle synchros and the new moon. See pic, hee hee. So there's a pic of turtle tracks on the new moon at sunset on the beach. So this is the thing, the turtles and the new moon. And again, we got to go back to our Rockfin episode with Bernie Taylor on lunar timekeeping. It's just about this exact thing.
There you have it. I don't know how to rate that. It's, I like it, Laura. I like you. You're great. But I have to give that like a 5.42.
I knew it was going to be 5.4. I had that in my head.
How'd you know?
I always portend numbers for some reason.
What?
Portend numbers.
Portend?
Yeah.
Does that mean like?
It means like psychically predict.
You're one of a kind.
I do. I have a thing with numbers. They pop into my head and then they're right. But
what
words
number am
and
I
stuff,
thinking of?
no, never. Words never, but numbers, yes.
What number am I thinking of?
7.
No, close.
It doesn't work like that. No pressure.
No pressure. I got a text from Lobie today. Is that a synchro?
It's sort of it sort of compounds it a bit. Yeah. What was he asking you about travel?
No, he was complimenting me on my new gun.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
On Justin?
I don't have Justin yet.
You don't have Justin yet. Okay.
The transfer system is all gummed up. It seems like every handgun that was commercially available in Canada has been sold. So I don't know how many that is, but I would say on any other given day, you're looking at maybe, a couple handguns across the whole country to maybe a couple of dozen on a busy day. Like the place where I have my membership, they're probably not selling a handgun every day. There's no way. Probably one a week. So, and now they just sold who knows, tens of thousands? I don't know. Whatever was available got sold. And even the private dealers, some of the guys I know, like the guy I work with, he sold everything. Everything he had's gone. So it seems like we're going to go. I think
that's fantastic news. I really do think that to me shows that a whole whack of people are paying attention and waking up.
Yeah. So it just sucks because if you don't have your R-Pal already.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get it in time.
Just get an axe. Or
that being said, I don't think they'll be. I don't know if they'll be able to kibosh me selling you my gun. That seems tough to do. I could see them stopping import, which would basically, if they stopped import and manufacturing, that would put a cap on the number of handguns in the country.
Yeah,
which I think is what they're going for. So that might be what happens there. In which case, my handguns are probably triple or quadruple or in value. So that's a bonus, I guess, if I want to sell them.
Yeah. I wonder how many of these politicians invested in short-term gun sales.
Well, I mean, I don't know what you'd invest in. All of those would have been owned already, mostly by smaller companies. The thing is, I don't think any of them are going to bring more guns in. So it'd be a risky time to try and bring more guns in. What if they don't sell? I guess maybe you could probably do buy order or something like that. And the people like Cabela's will keep bringing them in because they could just ship them to their U.S. stores if they need to.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, I got plenty of guns, so I'm not worried about it. I bought one more. Because I wanted a revolver, so I got a revolver. But I got a Glock for each kid, so to pass down if that's what it happens. That's what happens. What it comes to. And now I got my sexy Ruger 357 Magnum. That's what
cool, dude. Right on.
When it's time to take you out to the pasture, that's what I'll use.
All right, good.
We might have suicide pods by then. Doesn't some country have suicide pods? Or did I dream that? Or you just go crawl in a pod and...
Yeah, they won't allow me to do that here in Canada.
It gasses you.
You have to be jabbed before they let you do that.
Ha! You might as well just get the jab. Fine, just...
It's either SADS or pod, What do you want?
Well, I think the pod just gasses you out. So you're just having a time. It just incinerates the body. It just deals with everything. Or maybe it formaldehydes you.
Sure it's not a little electronic guillotine, eh? No?
I don't know. I don't know. Can you imagine having the job of going to clean out the pod?
Yeah.
I'd rather just if I was going to do that, I'd rather just get shot. You just go stand in front of a hole that's already dug and the tractor comes and pushes some dirt over and away you go. Back to the earth from whence you came. Anyway, grimerica.ca/support, guys. If you're getting a little value from our show here in these trying times of inflation and everything else, I mean, I've been saying it, but I can't stress it enough. these podcast subscriptions are the first thing to go when times are tight, and we understand that. We're a perk. So, this podcast is free. You don't even have to do anything. Even our other podcast, Outlawed, we're noticing a drop there with the inflation and everything else that's going on right now. So if you guys are in a position to help out the show, of course, we just did celebrate our 9-year anniversary, starting year 10. Here we are starting year 10. Go to grimerica.ca/support today. Make a one-time donation. Sign up for a monthly of some sort if you can. Head over to grimericaoutlawed.ca. Sign up for Plus over there if you've been thinking about it. Double check your subscriptions if you think they're working, because a lot get canceled all the time by PayPal and Stripe. Just shut them off for whatever reason, because they're making too much money. You want to say something? You got something?
I just got Holly's bio here when they're ready.
Oh,
when you're
okay.
ready.
Yeah, so support the show, guys. I know it seems like we've said it enough, 9 and starting year 10 here, but really we need it now more than ever. It's you start to get taken for granted after a long time like this, maybe. So grimerica.ca/support. Sign up for a monthly. Make a one-time donation. It really is super important, guys. We'd love you for it. I think that's it. All right, give us that. We're also after the bio. All right, give us the bio.
Okay, this is from
Bye
Aware
guy.
AwareCareDurango.com. This is Holly's from her website. This is her bio. And so she helps release subconscious limitations for spiritual seekers so that they can experience an exquisite life. That's basically anyone that comes to see her, I guess, is considered a seeker. So with a focus on holistic mental health, Holly is certified at the highest level as a practitioner of quantum healing hypnosis technique. That's QHHT. That's from Dolores Cannon. A hypnosis modality which integrates spiritual, physical, and emotional healing. She was trained by Dolores Cannon and has achieved her top-level certification with Julia Cannon. She's devoted to practicing exactly as Dolores did. Additionally, she uses her own methodology, higher self integration, to help her clients learn how to live with ego self and higher self dancing together. She is also a certified existential therapist. Through her practice, she has witnessed wonderful psychological, social, and physical healing. She achieved her doctorate degree in psychology in 2010. She's been a QHHT practitioner since 2013. So far, in her 9 years of practice, she has witnessed miraculous healings firsthand, emphasizing that we are just spiritual beings having a human experience. And she's devoted to helping her clients connect mind, body, and soul to achieve lives filled with unwavering peace. There you have it.
There you have it. So enjoy this. We got the little highlight reel from the Snake Bros. If you want to have a rock fin, if you want to get that, or hopefully we'll throw it on the YouTube channel soon enough. I think they've got it on their Patreon too. If you have a Patreon of theirs, you've probably already seen it. Maybe you haven't.
Well, yeah, but you won't see our version of it.
Which is awesome. Rockfin.com/Grimerica. All right, guys, enjoy this highlight reel and then the chat with Holly Duckworth.
On this particular thing, which basically the concept here, there's two main things we're looking at. One is the fact that there are unfinished jobs of an anomalous kind.
Well, they have excavated some of the corners of multiple pyramids, and in the past, the corners had been excavated by Petrie and others. So they'll dig down through the rubble and through the sand and find the actual bedrock and that actual corner block that is socketed into the bedrock. So if there's no more construction any further down than that, it would be tunneling.
Yeah.
But they're straight up socketed. And you can see a few of them. There's one at the Bent Pyramid. I don't know if this one has a cleared corner, but it's really interesting. Even, the casing stones are missing.
And the core blocks are gone.
Yeah, so you're far away from the pyramid because there would have been a lot more stones out of the wall, and you can see the corner where they cut into the bedrock to make this corner where that corner block would have sat.
Yeah, so it kind of sockets the entire structure onto the bedrock. You know what I mean? There's either an indent or an extrusion, so the pyramid sits down on it like it's socketed in. It's really interesting. So this picture, I just, as people are watching this, just start to pay attention to the shapes of the stones, and you're going to see, you're going to start to recognize this style. This is the kind of heterogeneous sort of cyclopean, or megalithic masonry that I was talking about. Now, because of what they were doing here, and they were actually matching these casing stones to the courses of the core masonry here. So each course is, one of these layers of stones, and they were matching the casing stones to each layer as well. It's not nearly as sort of flowing and heterogeneous as the stuff you'll see in Peru, but still they're finely fitted to each other, right? So the front faces are extremely rough. Look at this. Look at that interesting pattern right there. Every time I look at these pictures, I see something new and different. But if you look up here at these blocks, let's see if I can zoom in on this. You'll notice that the sides here, that they were very flat and finely faced to fit against each other. These two blocks probably went together, and they've just been separated for whatever reason. Or maybe there was another block that's supposed to be between them that's gone now. But the point is that the sides are very flat. Or if they're not flat, they're tuned perfectly to fit against the blocks that they were supposed to sit against, as opposed to these front faces, which are very rough. That's
perfectly flat. The lines are perfectly flat too.
Yeah.
So the bottoms and the tops are perfectly flat.
Yeah, well, it's like the mating faces on the sides of the rock, whether they were curved or flat, they match each other perfectly, like a jigsaw puzzle. And that's just, I'm saying that based on what I've read from Petrie, who basically initially excavated around these pyramids in the modern age.
Yeah. Well, if they're socked into the bedrock too, that doesn't make sense. So.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So this is the main part we want to look at here, and this is around the entrance. So again, this is the doorway, and this is like a modern wooden walkway that goes down into the entrance of the pyramid. But there's this interesting square flattened part of the casing stones where whoever was doing this came along, and for whatever reason, they decided that they needed the area around the door to be flat, not all puffy and pillowy like the rest of the blocks are. So they just had some machine, I guess. It seems like a machine to me, because you can kind of see this radius, and it actually goes all the way down to the ground here. So it goes out of the picture. But there's this radius at the edge of the square part where, and again, it's hard to see the scale here, but they were removing 12, sometimes 14 inches of stone. And again, keep in mind, this is very hard granite. So look at this.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow, you got your pillowy rock here. It's just eroded. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the other thing I want to point out. I love this. Just look at this. Anybody who's a mason or has done any kind of construction will appreciate what this little joint here means. Yeah. And so again, you see a different style of making, and these are kind of, I think these are like diorite. I'm not sure, but it's a form of granite, very hard. It's got a lot of quartz crystal in it. The silica inclusions, you can see these, all this white material is like a quartz stuff. So this is a type of granite again, and it's got this interesting facing style where they did flatten the middle of the block face, but they left the outside edges rough. And again, when you're thinking about this is a known style type. I've seen this in other places where that's been done. Like this, there's blocks like this at Baalbek, which is very interesting. This is one of the outer walls of the Osirian. And again, just like the small pyramid we were looking at earlier, notice how the blocks here they kind of got a regular horizontal line, but they're irregular otherwise. And then they're also kind of pillowy. And then you see lots of vertical scooping marks. The time of day here, we were able to see this with the shadows. See the way it's like scooped or scraped or something. These blocks have a lot of vertical tool marks on them. And then some very faint nubs possibly here. Some indents here and here. Maybe this is 2 nubs, or maybe this is a scoop out of this block. I don't know. But again, you just kind of see, you can kind of just see hints of tool marks.
It just looks like it was soft and somebody went at it with a butter knife and just was like, let's shave it real quick.
Yeah.
It just has that look about it. That soft
It does.
look.
Or it's the butter knife they use to get it out of the quarry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But here somebody was actually being really careful with the butter knife and actually making it flat. So this is that same wall, but from this picture, I'm turning to the right. So this is underneath the 3 remaining ceiling blocks here, roof blocks up here. And somebody was coming along and flattening this wall to a fine finish here, a flat face. And you can just see where the tool was stopping. You know, it looks to have had at least, you know, some kind of width here. And they were just, you know, you'd scrape down and stop, scrape down and stop, scrape down and stop, scrape down and stop. And you're kind of going along. This goes all the way to the corner. Look at that. But
very
again,
slight
discontinuities. But it is a mirror polish. You can see the reflection, you know, back here. All right. Just some other places around the world, unfinished work that look similar. This is in Peru. This is Ollantaytambo. This is the temple. They call it the Temple of the Sun. Again, you notice the vertical scraping or scooping. These are a couple of pictures of Ben was driving, and here's just another unfinished. This block laying at the side of the mountain. It probably was taken from a quarry way over here, brought across the bottom of the valley, and it was intended to go up this mountain, but it's just sitting here at the bottom of the valley. It never got taken all the way up, and the road goes around it. It's clearly a block there. Now we're at Easter Island, unfinished moai in the mountain, being in the process of being cut out.
Wow.
And never finished, like the obelisk.
Also,
and what's really interesting is they had already been making it into a statue, right? It's already got
exactly.
The face on it.
It's all part of the excavation. They start making it already. They probably don't finish it, maybe, but they have it close, right? I mean, that's crazy.
Look at him.
Yeah, he's
huge.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Look at to the left. They just cut them out of that. Like they just cut them out of the angle of the mountain there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. It's tilted again. Like it's tilted up, right? Like that obelisk. Here's some more. This one's really clear. Like you see the scooping. There's kind of indications that maybe that same kind of tool was being used here. And again, it's already got the face. And here's another one. Already has the face on it.
Look at the notch taken out above the nose there.
Yeah.
Like the tool needed that width.
Needed this working space to go over the nose.
Oh my God. That's brilliant. It looks like that's the, I wonder if that's it looks like there's a couple feet there. So that's really interesting. I mean, it reminds me of the spacing by the obelisk too, right? There's that minimum distance that they need to.
Yeah.
Holly Duckworth, thanks for joining us. Welcome to Grimerica.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Graham. Thanks, Darren. Really excited to talk to you tonight.
Oh, yeah, this will be fantastic. Yeah, thanks for coming on. I met a guy a few years back. When we started the podcast, I met a guy here in Calgary, and he was a Dolores Cannon. He's certified practitioner, and I lost his contact information, but I remember being astounded because he was telling me how it was like he was selling me. He wasn't like pushing me to do it in a way, right? He's like, hey, this is a long process. It's like 4 or 5 hours. And I always remember him saying, like, this isn't just like an hour-long thing. Like, it's an all-day event, this kind of process. And after reading your book there, I was thinking, wow, this is no wonder why you can get into so much detail with people, right? And why it's really healing, because it's not just a quick in and out,
Right. And it's one and done. You'll only ever have one session.
Wow,
so
really? Yeah.
Also the amazing thing.
Yeah, I wondered about that. You said a lot of people don't come back, right?
Nope. I've had, in doing this for 9 years, I've had, I think, 3 people come back for a second session, and it was years between sessions. And all of them came back and said, Holly, it's like I'm living in a whole new universe. I have all new questions. So I'm like, okay, come on back in.
Wow. Well, we better
no.
We better back up a couple of steps then for the audience and tell them what we're talking about, because we do got to talk about your journey from the corporate world to this. Like, it's fascinating how so many of our guests have this sort of journey. It's an interesting journey through either corporate or materialism type stuff into the spiritual world. But let's talk about what we're actually talking about here.
Okay, we're actually talking about quantum healing hypnosis technique, QHHT. And that's the healing modality that was created by Dolores Cannon.
Did she call it that?
She called it that. At first she didn't. And she practiced her hypnosis for, over 30 years. Before she even found QHHT, before she even realized she could heal through this particular modality. So it was a long road for her to come to it. She's since passed. She passed in 2014 at, the ripe old age of 80 something, and left us with this amazing, ridiculous modality that, of course, took her decades to create. So QHHT is a way of healing physical issues, mental issues, clarity on life decisions, relationships, purpose, lessons, past, present, future. So what happens is the client comes in with every question they've ever wanted to ask their higher self. So again, all of those things. Some people come in with 7 pages of typed questions. It's like, all right, we'll get through it. The client and I spend a couple of hours making sure that I understand the questions, but not only the questions, but also the context around the questions. Because I'm going to be in conversation with the higher self, right? And just like any conversation, we don't know where it's going to go before it goes, and it could go anywhere. And I've got to be ready for that, right? So the first couple of hours with the client is making sure that I am ready to hold that conversation, to get out of the conversation what the client wants out of it. So I have to know not only the questions, but the context around the questions. Then we go into the hypnosis. And the hypnosis alone is 2 to 2.5 hours. Could be 3 hours, but it's usually closer to 2 to 2.5 hours. And because of that, ridiculous luxury of time, we get to go into a really, really, really deep state of trance. And we go through a sequence of looking at an other life. I don't like calling it a past life, and I'll explain that in a minute. But we go through a storyline of another life, and then we transition into a direct conversation with the higher self. And there are lots of people have lots of names for this. It could be oversoul, soul, superconsciousness. I prefer the term higher self. And so then I get all the questions answered. All that's audio recorded. Then I bring the client out. debrief a little bit, and then they leave the session with a recording. And the most important part of all of this, the healing part of this, is then that client listening and processing via the recording through the wisdom and information the higher self imparted. So yeah, a whole session is really 5 to 7 hours. So I only see one client a day, every day. And we go through this kind of healing.
Oh, I have a lot of questions. So is the higher self the same one for all your concurrent lives then?
Yes. It's the part of you that is eternal, that has been with you through every form, every incarnation of form. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the one part that I have a hard time wrapping my head around. I remember talking about it years ago about concurrent lives. I'm trying to remember who I was listening to, who was researching that, but because I had a couple past life regressions in the mid 90s, and I remember that they weren't like super long and detailed, but I do remember I remember them. There was 3 of them, just little bits and pieces of them, but they all seem to be many, many hundreds of years old. So it's hard for me to wrap my head around how that could be like a concurrent lifetime, but that gets into a whole time and how time is not linear and all that.
Right. And it's an illusion. And, I used to think that when I was young and I was talking to my spiritual elders, I would ask, well, what is eternity? Because I went to Christian church, and of course there's lots of references to eternity in the Bible, and I'm like, I don't get it. What's eternity? And everybody would always tell me, oh, it's a really, 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 really long time. It's such a long time you can't even imagine how long it is. And I found out later, it's like, no, bullshit. Sorry, that's not what it is. Eternity is outside of time. Time is just a form experience, and so when you're outside of form, you're outside of time. There's no time. It's just not even experienced.
So what you're saying is the form experience from a few hundred years ago was just...
It's happening now.
It's happening.
It's happening now. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's hard to wrap
I know.
around that.
I know.
So the healing, and I remember talking to a friend about this too, the healing, she was experiencing some healing from one of these past life. Well, I shouldn't say past life, but it was almost like just the act of acknowledging it was enough to provide the healing. So is that what? So when somebody listens to this, their higher self in a conversation with you, that's just that awareness even alone is enough to sort of create. How does that healing work?
It can be, but some of our physical manifestations, and we don't even call them diseases or illnesses, they're just experiences. We don't put any judgment on them as good or bad, but some of our physical experiences in this life might actually be an energetic carryover from another life. And so we're talking to the higher self, which is above all of these incarnations, right? And so then in QHHT, we can energetically then heal across time to these other incarnations, and then hence heal that physical situation in this life. Yeah, absolutely. It's convoluted.
Well, yeah, I did a group past life session once, and I kind of ended up being in this time. 1110 came to me. This number 1110, like the year 1110. And I have a problem with my left arm. I can't straighten it properly. Like it's chronically broke. I broke it when I was 5 and all that. But I had the sense that I was with an old friend of mine in this other life, and I was using my shield a lot as some sort of knight or whatever, and I always had this bunged up sort of left arm from that shield.
Yep. We could heal that in QHHT. We could straighten your arm out.
Yeah, but it physically won't straighten though. Like it's blocked.
You'd be surprised.
Really?
You'd be surprised. Yeah. I've seen teeth regrown in adults. Metal in bones dissolved. Tumors. I had a gentleman who had a golf ball sized tumor. He had throat cancer, and it dissolved before my very eyes. All manner of cancer healed. All manner of what do you call it? Autoimmune diseases healed, diabetes gone, like instantaneously. So yeah, we can get your arm to straighten out. That's not a big deal in QHHT.
Does this go back, do you think? Like, I know that Dolores, came up with this, over the last few decades and all, but I mean, I've been thinking about the ancient mystery schools and stuff, and the resurrection in Egypt, the ritual of the resurrection, and I think a lot of that was based on souls leaving your body or detaching from your body, like the astral plane, souls.
It actually, I'll point more to something a little more current, and that is the movies, the Matrix movies. And Dolores was so far ahead of her time. She called it quantum healing hypnosis technique. Since she called it that, what quantum physicists have found is that's actually what we're working in. We're working in the quantum field. And what quantum physicists now know, I mean, you go down into particles as tiny as you can possibly get, quarks, neutrinos, whatever, muons, things even smaller than that. And they can never find mass. There's no particle, there's no piece there, right? It's all energy, right? And then they just find all this energy spinning in different directions with different probabilities and yada yada. So that means we're not mass. We're just energy. And so you heal energetically. Your elbow isn't mass, it's energy. And so once you tap into that energetic field, you can do whatever the heck you want. You can literally dissolve tumors instantaneously because there's no mass there. It's just energy. And quantum physicists know this now.
It's the whole analogy of the table being solid, but really once you look into it, it's all just vibration and
exactly.
And particles.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's hard to wrap my head around. Darren, do you have anything on that?
Well, it's just a field.
The field, yeah.
Yeah.
The field.
So that's all you are, is an energy field. Yeah.
Not very energetic.
Yeah, so that's how all this works. And that's why you can connect across time, because it's all just energy. And that energy of that 1110 or 1140 or whatever it was, that energy is still there. It still exists. It didn't go away. It didn't go anywhere.
Because energy doesn't?
No,
it
right.
always just transforms, or?
You can have an awareness of it, or you cannot have an awareness of it, but it's always there. It's like plugging in your vacuum cleaner. Well, just because your vacuum cleaner isn't plugged in doesn't mean the electricity disappeared. The electricity is still there. You don't see it. You don't see any ramifications of it. It's still there. But it's only when you do the plug into the wall and click the button that, the vacuum cleaner works. So that's what we're doing. The energy's all there. It never went away. We're just plugging into it.
Did Graham exist in all time periods then?
Yes. And that's the other thing. That's why I hate the term past life, because of this time thing that we're talking about. Nothing's past. But also, we're all one. We're all a part of that energy. And so I can't validate. I mean, you might. Some people have certainly done this, but I don't get too hung up, I guess I should say, on validating. Was that your past life? Or was that just an other life, right? And so, because we're all one. We're as pure consciousness, we're all experiencing everything. We're just a part of the all. And so to even begin to think of, is this person's, other life? Is this person's other life? Well, from a purely energetic standpoint, that kind of doesn't make any sense, because all the energy is always all connected.
Huh. I see what you mean. Yeah, it kind of makes sense.
So there was
as pure consciousness, any of us can tap into any of those physical manifestations.
So there's a 1920s Graham going on right now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
a 1400s Graham.
Exactly.
And the
and an
1110.
8900 Graham.
So why do some people?
I don't know
Why
that
do
it
some
goes
people
out
not
that far.
resonate with a certain time? Like I resonate with medieval times, right? Like I'm fascinated by that. But and when I grew up, I didn't like Victorian times. I didn't like this whole. But now I'm sort of I'm shifting a little bit to get more into like the sort of 18. I'm more fascinated by recent history, like the 1800s and stuff. Is there a reason why we resonate with certain time periods?
It might be of importance to you. Your higher self might be going, pay attention to this. It might have importance to you. But back to this, we're all just energy. I want to blow your mind a little more.
Yeah, sure. Please do.
I have a lot of people that regress as animals of every sort, rocks, trees, mountains, planets, stars.
So would you go into an already existing mountain, or would it be a new mountain?
And you as pure consciousness have the capability of having that experience of the mountain at any time, because time's an illusion. So in QHHT, we're focusing then on that time frame. So back to, again, we're all one. We're all the same thing. We can be anything. We can be a star, a planet, a mountain, a rock.
Is being a mountain boring?
It is. I had a client who was a rock, and I'm like, they're going through this entire, they're witnessing this firsthand. They come out of that knowing exactly what it feels like to be a rock.
Okay, could they see? But they couldn't see, I guess. They couldn't see or couldn't hear.
Yeah, they can only see in one plane, whatever's like right around them or become aware of. It's not really seeing. And so I'm having this conversation with the rock, okay? Because it's first person. I am the rock. Okay. So I'm having this conversation with the rock, and I'm like, so why did you choose to be a rock? Why be a rock? Well, it's a way to rest.
It was a person though, right? You're talking to a person.
There's a person on my bed in hypnosis in my office who is having this firsthand experience of being a rock.
I thought for a second you were just talking to a rock on your desk.
No. This is a human being in a deep trance in my office. So why does he want to be a rock? Well, it's a way to rest. And then I'm like, okay, so I had another question. I'm like, well, how does a rock die? Like, does it have to wait? Does it shrivel down into a grain of sand? Like, how does that even work? And they said, no, we just decide to leave. We're finished with that experience, so we leave. I'm like, oh, okay.
It seems very animistic in a way. Like everything's alive, everything has consciousness in a way, right? Everything.
Yeah. And it's not different than us. That rock is part of me. I'm part of the rock. It's not different.
The only thing that is the difference is the physical vibrations of the molecules or whatever.
The focus of the consciousness, but that consciousness that's focusing as the rock and the consciousness that's focusing as Graham, it's the same consciousness.
It's funny how the ancient, like Gordon White's book recently about animistic. It seems like the ancient cultures had this more correct than we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They seem to have most things.
Yeah, I know. I just want to rest. I just want to be a rock.
Go be a rock.
Dude, I don't know if you could rest anymore. Then you rest. You're practically a rock now. Do I smoke weed because I'm part tree?
Maybe you're part. Maybe you have had an experience as a marijuana plant, as an actual plant. Yeah.
Oh my God! There you go. That's what it is.
Boring to me.
You're just connecting with your past family.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it'd be cool to be a tree or something.
Your cousins.
I don't think I get into it though. Huh.
Yeah.
So do you find you mentioned in your book there's a couple core things that people want to find out about themselves, like
3 questions that get asked over and over and over and over again, and it's, what is my life purpose, what is my life lesson, and then how do I connect with the higher self, when I'm not in Holly's office. And when I first started this, I'm like, oh, okay, people have the same questions over and over and over again. That's normal. Okay, those are pretty important questions. Have answered. But then what freaked me out was when the answers kept coming back the same. I'm like, whoa, these people don't even know each other, from Adam. They're just random people making an appointment with me. And that dude's life purpose is exactly like that dude over there. What's up with that?
What is it? What is everyone's life purpose?
So there's four life purposes that I found. Life purpose as experience, life purpose as service, or life purpose as love, or life purpose as being, a state of being, to be.
Darren doesn't want to be a being. He would rather be a doing.
He's got it. So I've had over, I don't know, I guess around 2,000 sessions I've given over the last 9 years, and everybody's life purpose falls into one of those four.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does everyone have a purpose? Does anyone just have no purpose? Are there NPCs?
No.
Are there real NPCs?
Nope.
So
you're here for a reason. Yeah.
Well,
now some people don't have a lesson, but everybody has a purpose.
So, I mean, obviously, if somebody's coming to you, they've already reached some kind of awareness or some kind of curiosity about deeper issues.
Yeah. They're not going to find me unless they've done a little bit of searching. Yeah.
And you mentioned love as an energy and not a feeling quite a bit in your book too, right? I mean, and we talk about this on this show. Love is the answer. Love is, comes down to either love or fear, and love seems to be the answer to a lot of things. But maybe expand on the energy part of that.
Yeah, well, that's one of my favorite stories out of the book. So throughout the book are different client stories, of course, completely scrubbed for anonymity. But one of my clients in there, the other thing I'll mention, people won't show up in my office if they haven't at least dabbled into a little bit of spiritual awakening. They also won't walk into my office typically unless there's something to be healed, right? So most of my clients have some sort of really serious trauma or physical situation going on. So this woman comes into my office, and she had a really, really tragic story. I think I used the name Kelsey in the book, but I've changed all the names to make sure they're anonymous. But her mom was a heroin addict, and she learned how to make her infant baby sister a bottle when she was 5 years old. So she was basically a newborn's caretaker at the age of 5. And her mom didn't get any better. And so she grew up in a life of complete, lack of love. She never knew love in her entire life. And so as an adult, she did all kinds of things with helping out with homeless shelters, soup kitchens. Her entire life was about fixing what she called her broken people. That was because, think about it. That's all she ever knew was this life of loveless, broken people. And so one of the things that we can do in QHHT is, because we're connected, the higher self is the higher self. It's directly connected to source, to God. So one of the things we did in her session was we had the higher self give her as much as the human body was possible of receiving, a physical, visceral sensation of God, of divine love. And so she had that experience in her hypnosis, which was really cool. And so she wakes up, I bring her out, and she's just dumbfounded and amazing. And now she knows what love feels. She's, here she was, I think she's probably in her 30s when she was at her session. So here she was in her 30s, had never felt love before in her life. And here her first experience with true love is a visceral sensation of God, love embodied, right? And so she was so cute because what I expand on in the book is now she's going to be able to go touch these same broken people, but what she had been doing was helping them in a loveless way. I mean, it was just like a robot, that's all she knew. So that's what she did. And now that she knows what love is, now that she's connected to love, she can give to them. Now they're going to receive that love from her. There's that energetic ability then to expand and project that love to these quote unquote broken people.
So that's a real way to expand love, really. I mean, imagine that ripple effect of that love coming from the divine source through all these different people. I think you had another story in a book, something very similar, somebody in a department store feeling love for the first time.
God, yeah.
And like that, just one person's random act of kindness changing a life, right?
Yeah. Oh, that one was so tragic too. The client was actually a grocery store manager. He was the person that was managing the grocery store. So it wasn't from the perspective, but it was like a little bit of a slap on the face for him from the higher self, because they do that too. They're not always, rainbows and sunshine. They can be a little bit of tough love there
kind of
too.
A trickster element to them.
Kind of a tough, get with the program here, right? And so this woman had come in, it was Christmas Eve, and she was in the grocery store, and she was all, dirty hair, dirty clothes, and, smelled a little, and was just kind of like shuffling around the grocery store. And most people, probably myself included, had I been the grocery store manager, I probably would have made sure she wasn't stuffing stuff in her pocket, right? Stealing. But no, he didn't do that. He went up, he gave her a great big bear hug, Merry Christmas. Is there anything I can help you with? And I think they were even giving away little, candy bars or something for Christmas Eve, or candy canes or something. Sent her on, and then she went on her way, and she came back into the store a couple months later, all clean, and dressed, and she found that manager, and she's like, I want to let you know, you saved my life that night. I was biding time until I was going to commit suicide that night. I had it all planned. And because of his genuine, hug and love and care and openness with her, it completely changed her life that night. So that was amazing. Yeah.
Another example, just passing it on.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? The service, the experience. So do you find that people are lacking meaning and purpose in their life right now?
Yeah.
I feel like there's because sort of materialism has destroyed not only spiritualism, but religion in a lot of ways.
Right.
There's a big sort of gap in sort of just meaning. I know some young people, and they're just sort of anxiety ridden without any meaning.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I wanted to interject tonight is, yes, and especially young people. When I say young people, I mean, not so much 5-year-olds, but 12, 20s, 13, 20s. 15, up to the 20s. Absolutely. And they're missing any understanding. Some people are even missing the fact that they have a purpose, even asking the question, what is my purpose? They've never even been told that you have a purpose, right? And just this whole materialism and everything. And then the really, really awful part that I find in my practice is I have a lot of young people like this that come in, and they've been medicated. They went and saw a doctor. Oh, I've got depression. It's some sort of I don't know, pop culture diagnosis. They watched a TV show of someone who had depression, and now they think they have depression, and they go to their MD, and MD gives them a pill. Oh, sure. Here you go. Here's your pill. Here's your happy pill. Go take it for the rest of your life with no accompanying prescription for mental health care. Just pop a pill. You'll be fine. And it's just disgusting to me. It's absolutely disgusting to me. 57% of the psychotropic drugs prescribed in the United States of America are prescribed by MDs that have zero training in psychology. Well, maybe not zero, but minimal training in psychology.
So what normally a psychiatrist would prescribe psychotropic drugs?
Yeah. But almost always psychiatrists are trained that it has to be accompanied with psychotherapy, right? There's some cause for the depression if it's legitimate depression. And so then we're going to go through some sort of therapeutic process to treat that. The MDs are prescribing it as if they're prescribing antibiotics, and there's no psychotherapeutic process associated with it. And so the person pops the pill. Okay, they might feel like they can get out of bed, but they're getting out of bed like a zombie.
It might not do anything more than a placebo, really.
Exactly. That would be the best case scenario. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then this is absolutely downright dangerous. And when we get to really young kids. So, Graham, get this. Guess how many 4 to 5 year olds are prescribed anti-anxiety meds in the U.S. right now? 4 to 5 year olds. So 2 years.
Percentage wise, or
number of kids? Number of kids.
Oh, a couple 100,000, maybe.
Over 90,000.
90,000.
Anti-anxiety meds that are gonna F with your brain chemistry for the rest of your life. And we're giving them to 4 and 5 year olds, 90,000 of them. And then we extrapolate 57% of those were given out by MDs with no accompanying therapeutic requirements. What's up with that?
Well, I mean, they're only kids, right? Up to 5 years old. I mean, how do you even discern anything at that point? I mean, aren't they just kids still?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I don't know because I'm not a father, but Darren would know more about, what his 5-year-old.
It's sad. It's really, really sad. And a lot of this is the parents are projecting onto the kids. What the first round of psychotherapy that I would recommend is both parents get into my office, right? You're both laying down and finding your purpose here. And then once you're on your purpose, then maybe your kid gets a little better because you're not projecting onto the kid, right? And so that's one avenue that can happen much more holistically than it's happening. And then maybe the kid grows up a little better. And then, of course, once the kid's old enough, in the state of Colorado, it's 12 years is the age of, what do you call it? I forget the technical term, but it's where the kid can sign themselves up for psychotherapy. 12.
Is that high for a state or low for a state?
That's low. That's low for a state. Without their parents' consent, they can sign up for psychotherapy at that age. Yeah. Yeah. Generally, I don't work with people under the age of 16, but to work with someone who's 18 or 19 or 20 or 21, and then they find out their life purpose, I'm like, oh my God, if only somebody had told me my life purpose at 20. But it's like instant. It's like instant resolution of any sort of existential crisis. It's like, we're good. I got it. And then here's the other really cool thing that happens in QHHT. So your conscious mind is receded. Some people are aware during the process. Some people are not aware. But the higher self is speaking to you through you. So having that physical situation of someone else answering the questions using your mouth, your language, but not your brain, okay? So knowing, now you're connected. Now you know, oh crap, there's a much bigger part of me. I'm not me. I'm not this meat puppet. I'm not this meat suit. I'm bigger than this. And it's connected to me because it can talk to me through me. And after having that experience, so many people are like, well, I've known that voice my whole life. I just didn't know what it was. it's like the higher self's been trying.
Right. So it's not like you're channeling something either. It's not like you're channeling a relative or their higher self. Even you're just extracting it through themselves, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Your soul is speaking to you through you in English on a tape recorder.
So that must be just revealing on its own, even just to hear your voice and go, I don't remember that. I don't remember saying all that.
Exactly. And often the higher self will have a different personality than the person. And so they don't even sound like the person at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Different vocabulary, different phrases.
You also mentioned in your book, and I love this because really through mindfulness, and I think it's hard to do, but when it clicks, it kind of clicks that you can backtrack through your thoughts to discern if it's your higher self or not, right?
Yeah,
you want to explain that?
Yeah. So I do coaching with people. It's a course called Higher Self Integration, where we really get good at that higher self, ego self discernment. And so one of the easy ways of helping with that discernment, well, was that just me wanting to invest in the Bitcoin? Was it the higher self telling me to invest in the Bitcoin, right? And so if we can take our decision or our moment of thought and backtrack it back to, well, before I was thinking about this, I was thinking about that. And before I was thinking about that, I was thinking about this. And before I was thinking about this, I was thinking about this. That's not higher self. The higher self speaks to you spontaneously, and you're like, what was that all about? How did I come up with that? That's the higher self. Yeah.
Is there any chance that's something not your higher self, but somebody else or something else that's not legit or genuine speaking to you?
Yeah. So of course, we do all sorts of protection before we go into our QHHT session, so that we're only speaking with light and love. I'm not naive enough to tell you that there aren't darker aspects, spiritual aspects that we could be connecting with. That's not who we connect with in QHHT. However, I have had clients begin to spontaneously channel other beings through the QHHT process. So they found out through QHHT that they had the capability of channeling. And one of those people I've been working with, we've been doing a big project together. It's called the Expansion Project. And she, through her QHHT process, spontaneously started channeling the Council of 12. And so I've been having these conversations with the Council of 12, different members on the Council of 12 through her about the ascension process.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I was actually meaning outside of the QHHT on their own when they're trying to discern whether it was the higher self or not. Like, is there sometimes fear that they realize it's spontaneous, but it's not the higher self? It could be something else. Or?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there is, I'm kind of a believer. There's a doctor, a psychiatrist, I'm not going to remember his name right now, but he treats schizophrenia by teaching people to actually talk back, have a conversation. What's the problem here?
Yeah. So, I mean, it is hard though to backtrack through your thoughts. I mean, it's not so easy to do that. But do you have any sort of mindfulness practices for people to? Because I would think it does take work to be able to do that.
It takes a little practice, and for me, the easiest way to do that is when I'm driving. It's just, because your mind wanders, you're in that alpha brainwave state anyway, you're halfway hypnotized anyway.
Yeah.
That's a great time for them to come in with you because you're in that kind of daydreamy kind of place.
Yeah, and you find that you haven't, you're like, where I've been internal, I haven't even thought about where I've been driving recently.
Exactly.
So then you can start backtracking through your thoughts that way.
Well, I've been trying to get in. You've been not knowing where the fuck you were, and I've been over here trying to cut in.
Sorry.
But your higher self, you mean?
No, I mean, you guys are the guys daydreaming on the highway when I'm trying to get around.
Yeah.
You're the guy that I'm behind that I'm like, what is he doing? Oh, he's hypnotizing himself.
Yeah.
While he's driving. Yeah.
While he's driving.
And then you get to where you're going and you have no memory of having driven it. Yeah.
Is this safe?
That happens.
It's safe though?
Yeah.
You never blow any stop signs or
you're
anything?
one part of your brain's doing one thing and the other part of your brain's doing another. It's trance. That's where we go in hypnosis. Yeah.
That's what the guy who's texting says too, though. He's like, I just,
Yeah. That's distraction.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything with the Council of 12 stuff?
Yeah, on my YouTube channel. Yeah, there's a whole it's called the Expansion Project, and so we're up to I think 40 episodes on with the Council of 12. All kinds, and we only take listeners' questions. So there's like the last episode. I can't come up with these questions. But the last episode, someone asks, "Do vampires exist?"
Oh yeah, that's a great question.
So yeah, isn't it? And so we explored with the Council of 12. We explored vampires. That's way cool. Yes, they exist, absolutely. And they got into this huge conversation about how we are completely unaware of what kind of creators we are and how our imagination creates actual manifestations. And so, it was also kind of a cautionary tale of like, well, be careful what you imagine, because it's like really
well, that's why Hollywood and the media is so important, right? Because they've got everybody wound up imagining all this kind of crazy stuff. I mean, imagine the power Hollywood has to control our imaginations.
Yeah.
The ETs are like this, or the vampires are like that. I mean, we could be creating all this stuff from scratch,
right?
Based on the big screen,
right? Yeah. So heck yeah, vampires are real.
So
I've had clients regress as Sasquatch, gnomes, fairies.
Rams are regress gnome.
Hobbits. I'd like to. Maybe I was a hobbit.
I've never had a hobbit.
No,
you're still a hobbit.
Still a hobbit.
Still a hobbit.
Dragons?
Yes. Yep.
Giants?
Yep. Giants.
I mean, kind of Sasquatch is kind of a giant. I think they're the personally. I think Sasquatch might be the leftover giants.
Maybe
they got forced into the woods all over the world.
That was a fascinating life too, because they were suspended in this other dimension, the Sasquatch, until a child was in trouble in the wilderness. And then they would like they would pop out of their dimension. And this dimension, it was like white. Like there's no floor,
like
there's there's just they're hanging there in suspended animation in this.
Do they
white
go there themselves?
Like purgatory?
Yeah, they go back and forth themselves. And then when a child yells or screams or whatever, somehow they know that the child's in trouble. They pop into our dimension to take care of the child, and then they pop back out.
And they're not going in. They're not popping in to take the kids now, are they?
No. They're there to help. I mean, they might take it if they think that they're helping. I don't know, but their entire purpose is to help kids.
Sounds like purgatory. Maybe they see the unbaptized bastard kids there too. Can you still say that? Can you still say? I don't know. Maybe I might have just offended a bunch of people. But hey, I'm a bastard. It's okay. It's okay. But I don't think it's the bastards anyway. I think it's the unbaptized babies maybe that go to purgatory. I'm not sure how that works.
I don't know.
But it sounds like Sasquatch is in purgatory.
Well, I mean,
what a
if you
horrible
say
existence.
purgatory is a dimension, I mean, there's an infinite number of dimensions.
That sounds like a boring one, though. That sounds worse than being a tree.
But that's kind of what I was talking about. The masters and the adepts is they might just be so versed in moving between the realms. That's where they go. I mean, they spend most of their time just in that realm of pure.
So
love,
here's
pure
it.
bliss, pure light.
Can I do useful things while I'm a tree? Can I be a tree and spy on Graham's picnic and bring that information back to me?
Maybe if you wanted to.
Could I be an eagle?
My guess is that the tree really doesn't give a flying F.
Well, that's why I'm the tree now. I'm the tree. So do my priorities change when I become the tree? Do my priorities change when I become the tree? Could I be a bee?
Yes, they do. Exactly. Exactly.
Well,
Your priorities become tree priorities.
So what if you just get caught up in that and you just be a tree forever? Does that happen?
You are a tree. If you've been a tree, you are a tree forever. Again, time. There's no such thing as time. It's just an illusion.
You're still a cannabis plant, Darren. And you want to be
a cannabis plant, yes.
And a Mexican and an Australian and a chick. I mean, probably all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All kinds of people from other planets.
So, do you get to be what? Wait, other planets?
Yeah, aliens, planets, even planets themselves, even the moon, Darren. You could be the moon.
Yeah, lots and lots and lots of people find themselves in other lives, not on as people, humanoid type bodies, but it ain't Earth.
So I could just be like, well, I don't think you could be the moon because the moon's made by people, but maybe you could be like Jupiter. That sounds just
a lot
as
of
foreign
people
as being
are
a
like
mountain.
they're from somewhere in the Pleiades, somewhere.
I bet you a lot of people are Cleopatra.
No, I've never had anyone be anyone famous. The only famous person is a colleague of mine, Yaron DeWitt, and he's a QHHT practitioner in Los Angeles. He had a client so the mom is in session, and she finds out in session that I think he was 6 at the time, 6-year-old son was a reincarnation of Lou Gehrig. And she ended up actually connecting the little kid to Lou Gehrig's living family. And he had family knowledge that no one else knew. And so she actually ended up writing a book about the fact that her son is the reincarnation of Lou Gehrig. But there's a whole lot of people that aren't famous.
I mean, I want to get back to the trees a bit because
Can multiple people be the same person?
No.
So
Well, I mean, at some level, you're in your pure consciousness level, you're everyone, but no.
So there was still only one Hitler.
Right.
Who did he come back as?
Yeah.
Who did he come back as?
Supposedly he's here.
Yeah, who?
Yeah.
Come on. Give us a hint.
I don't know. I don't know.
I could hazard a couple of guesses, but I won't do it on our program.
But if you were in a QHHT session, you could ask that question and your higher self would tell you.
What if it was you did that and I was like, it was you?
Yeah, could be.
Then you come out of it knowing you used to be Hitler.
All of us have been the bad guy, the
Not
good guy.
Hitler
We've been the murderer. We've been the victim.
There's a couple real treats though, like Genghis Khan. What about you find out you're Genghis Khan?
Mm-hmm.
That's a rough one.
Yeah,
that's a tough session to come out of.
And you're probably doing really, 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 really good stuff in this life to balance the karma.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So, do you get any vibes off Graham?
No, I don't get any vibes off of anyone.
Not until.
And that's the cool thing about my job.
Hypnotize him first.
No, all I got to do is get somebody into trance, and the higher self does all the work.
Can we do that?
Zoom?
Can we do that over Zoom?
No, it's in person only.
Okay.
So we'd have to ship him over there.
Yeah, you'd have to ship him over here.
Huh.
Well, next time you guys are in Pagosa Springs, stop by Durango.
It might be worth the trip.
Maybe we should send some. Maybe we'll send someone in. We got a couple listeners that are in Pagosa, so maybe one of them will volunteer, and we can send them as an experiment, and we can cover the cost of it. And it might be a fun.
We could record their whole session. Yeah.
Well, they might not be into that. They would just play it. But it might be fun to do a before and after or something like that. Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah.
You guys know who you are down in Pagosa. Shoot us an email. Let us know if you're interested. I mean, there's probably a few more than we think, but there's a few for sure.
Cool.
So was I always like an Indian or no? I don't get to just keep doing that. It was a different thing last time.
Yeah. You might not have been on planet Earth. You might have been a Pleiadian. I don't know.
Huh. Is that so? Are those going in It's at the same time concurrently.
Exactly. Yeah.
The light distance doesn't matter. It doesn't take me a few years for my soul to get there.
Mm-mm. No, that's the other thing that's interesting. Oh, I had this client once who, he had this question. So him and his wife were taking care of this elderly gentleman, and his wife was pregnant, and the gentleman was in a different bedroom in the house, and him and his wife are in their bedroom, and all of a sudden this light comes through the wall and into her stomach, this shaft of white light. And one of the questions he had in his QHHT session was, what was up with that? Because after that happened, they got up. They didn't think too much about it, but they got up and then, were kind of shuffling around the house. And then they went back to their elderly friend's bedroom, and he had passed. And so the question was, is his son, the pregnant, the baby in the belly, is he a reincarnation of his older friend? And the higher self said, yeah, the reincarnation was instantaneous.
Really?
Like at the moment of death, it entered the.
Is there a certain day that happens in the womb?
No, it can actually even happen after birth. A baby can be born soulless until the soul arrives for whatever reason.
I might know a couple of those babies. I think. So is he like
years old and they still don't have a soul?
So in a sense, that baby just killed that old man. It was like, enough of you. You're out. I'm in.
Or somebody else was in that belly, and the old man went, "Get out! This is mine now. I'm coming right back.
Oof.
I'm not leaving this house."
Does that happen?
Oh, obviously. Yeah, that's what happened in that situation.
Because I think the Buddhists had a theory of 59 days, is it, Darren, or 39? When
there was a day thing,
supposedly corresponded to the pineal gland being developed when they said the soul came into the body.
Oh, I see.
Maybe we should kill Graham and get him to horn into some rich guy's thing so that he can then support the show in the future. We'll ram you into a past thing so that I don't know how that'll work.
I don't even want to introduce you guys to the concept of backdrop people. Then
backdrop, are they NPCs?
I don't know what's an NPC.
It's a non-player character.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I know a bunch of them too.
They're actually not sentient beings, but they are a manifestation of your imagination, I guess.
Some of my best friends are NPCs. Maybe literally.
Yeah. And some of them are suits, if you will. They're human bodies that multidimensional people can come into to
walk-ins?
Do something and then walk out. Yeah.
Walk-ins, they're called, yeah.
Walk-ins and walk-outs. Yep.
Seems like a hooker thing. Weird. Do you pay for that, or you just pop in?
That might be the reason they walk in.
Can I rent my body out here to some walk-ins? $50
Good
an
business
hour.
Idea. 50, get 50 of them all at once.
New business idea.
Just got you going around all these different things.
You get fucking 3 minutes each. So did you have a session? Is this like how many people are doing this?
Are doing the walk-ins?
No, the
backdrop people.
The therapy like this.
There are, I don't know, a little over 3,000 people in the world that are trained at some level. I'm what's called a level 3, which is the top level. Means that I'm certified to be practicing exactly as Dolores Cannon practiced herself. And at level 3, there's 30 of us all over the world. There's practitioners in Hong Kong and Spain.
There's only 30 of you?
Yeah, there's only 30 of us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going. Hong Kong, Spain, all over the world?
All over the world.
Is it hard to get in then?
Yeah, I'm usually booked 4 to 6 months in advance.
Holy shit. Good for you. That's fantastic. So I wonder what the guy from Calgary was. Is there like a resource that people can go to find like
Make sure there's not getting a creep who's lying.
QHHTofficial.com, QHHTofficial.com. And then you can search by locale and it'll tell you, and then it'll take you to the person's profile, which will go to their website or whatever, tell you what level they are.
Is there still people getting up to level 3 or?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Yeah. Julia Cannon, that's Dolores's daughter. She's carrying on her mom's work. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you got there, you came from the corporate life, right? Like you were also in sort of operations management, that kind of stuff.
My background's in mechanical engineering. Not woo-woo. Not the woo-woo.
Very materialistic in a way.
Yeah. And then I had a chance to go to a weekend seminar delivered by Dolores herself. This is when she was still living, obviously. And what Dolores would do is she'd have a huge hotel ballroom of whatever, 100 people, 200 people. She'd put them all into hypnosis simultaneously. And I'm thinking at the time, I'd read a bunch of her books. She wrote 19 books, and they're like amazing ridiculousness. They're encyclopedias of metaphysics, basically. And I loved her books. I loved the way she researched. I loved, the way she wrote. But I'm thinking in that first instance, I'm like, hypnosis, it works on those people, not me. Right. I'm a buttoned up engineer, right? This is not going to work on me. And of course, like the very first hypnosis we go into, I'm having these profound experiences, like these amazing trips. And I'm like, wow, this works. This really works. Like I'm going to run up to the stage and tell Dolores, who's been doing this for 40 years, did you know this works? This really works. So I was a believer. That was in January of 2013. I was in training in February, and that was it.
Wow! And just
that's it. I'm done. I know what I'm doing for the rest of my life.
Wow!
Yeah.
So interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to mention. I do want to ask you before we run out of time, because I find it. You also articulated how nature can help us, and in a way that I don't know if I've ever heard really.
Yeah. So that's one of the most common when people ask, how do I connect with the higher self? Right.
Yeah. On a regular basis. So
on a regular basis.
Of the session,
on my own. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll ask, where can he go? What can he do? And what can he say? And so when I say, where can he go? Almost all of the time, the higher self says in nature. And so there's all kinds of things that happen just practically, without the metaphysics and the woo-woo. All kinds of things happen when we're in nature. I mean, one is the perspective changes. Like when you're inside, everything's built to human scale. When you go outside, your trees and mountains aren't to human scale. And so you shrink down. So your problems shrink down, your thoughts shrink down in perspective to what's around you. So that's one thing. And then the other thing that happens is all the buzzing, all the Wi-Fi signals and radio signals and television signals and cell signals and everything that we're oblivious to normally, thank God, they go away. And so we really our nervous system really does feel calmer because it's not being pinged with all of these signals that our conscious mind is just unaware of. So there's all these kinds of things that happen when you're in nature, and it's like, well, duh, yeah, that's a really good place to connect.
Speaking of connecting, where can our listeners find your stuff and book an appointment maybe if they want to, or find all your YouTube channel you mentioned?
Yep. So my website is awarecaredurango.com, AWARECAREDURANGO.com. I'm in Durango, Colorado, which is nowhere close to Denver. So southwest corner of Colorado, and then they can find links to everything, email, everything right there at awarecaredurango.com. But I do have a burgeoning following on YouTube, and I'm Holly Duckworth PhD on YouTube, and Instagram and Facebook is Aware Care Durango.
Right on. This has been fun, Holly. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, we might
we'll
send Graham down there yet.
Yeah, we'll send somebody down for sure to see you.
Cool.
I think it's fantastic. I love it. I'm going to look to see if there's anybody local too here for Maria, my girlfriend, and see if it might help her out a lot too.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for a great chat.
Yeah. All right,
yeah,
guys.
thanks for coming on the chat, Holly. We hope to have you back in the future and keep up the good work.
All right. Thanks, Darren.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
And that was our chat with Holly Duckworth. What was it, Duckworth? Duckworth, right?
Duckworth, yep. Yep.
What'd you
PhD.
think? That seemed right up your alley, yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
I've been
wanting to do that for a long time, so.
To get a CHMTM?
QHHT, yeah. Dolores Cannon. I mean, I've heard of Dolores Cannon's work for a while now.
I've heard that too, so.
Yeah. Yeah, she was pretty famous author there for a while, and she put everybody through this rigorous, training to become officially certified. And I think it's so interesting. I just can't wrap my head around the time thing though. But one day, maybe.
One day when you die and you just find out that I get
exactly,
it.
Yeah,
totally. I'm a rock. I don't know. I don't want to be a rock or a tree. Maybe though, might be a nice break. Can you just be a dude that sleeps all day then though?
I guess.
Or is being a rock more restful?
Because then you're in nature. Maybe. I mean, unless you're in somebody's backyard or I guess it depends on how. Yeah, you could be a rock stuck in somebody's house.
Stuck at the bottom of an outhouse. One of the rocks in the side of the driveway, or who knows, in a concrete foundation. You're just having a good rock life, and they just come along and harvest you, break you up, and throw you into the concrete mixer.
Yeah.
So, big thanks to not Dolores. Big thanks to
Holly
for coming on the show. Check out her stuff. Check out her sites. Check out her YouTube channel. Big thanks to you guys for listening. Even bigger thanks if you're one of the few people who choose to support our work here over at grimerica.ca/support. If you are getting a little value from our little podcast here, head over to grimerica.ca/support today. Maybe sign up for a monthly or make a one-time donation. Maybe you can head over to adultbrain.ca and check out the audiobooks we're doing, or join the chats over at grimerica.ca/chats. Get on tour. Contact at thecabin.com. We're always up to something over there. See if anything tickles your fancy. I think that's about it. Spam Graham. Send them your stuff. We love you guys. Thanks for listening. And we will see you next week.
Teach me all your secrets to get a good handle on a better way to live. How does one get out of bed every day in the throes of the apocalypse? Should I bury my head in the sand or sabotage their evil plan? I feel really trapped, an ant burned by a magnifying glass. It's all a little bit too convenient, all the evidence went up in flames. Phonies, fraudsters, scammers belong in the slammer, my friend, best give up their names. Should I call on militiamen or pass out a petition pen? I feel really trapped, an ant burned by a magnifying glass. I don't know what y'all been told, but I got a soul made out of gold. Sound off, 1, 2, sound off, 3, 4, cadence count, 1, 2, 3, 4. Some time ago a crazy dream came to me. I dreamt I was walking into World War III. As prophetic as humidity, as aching bones, as frantic animals. Sophia wrote it down, built an ark, now she floats it down a river dark. As prophetic as deja vu, it down a river dark. I can't even hear my own thoughts for the life of me over the din of a bruised and broken culture. The media spins and splatters and spins and clatters, and I cringe because it's psychological warfare. Don't you feel yourself getting really mad? How did we let it get this bad? Don't you feel really trapped like a brain in a vat? Trying really hard to close Pandora's box, but sirens are singing me off a cliff. I'm looking to hitchhike to Shangri-La over yonder. Sophia, would you give me a lift? Hopped out of the Hegelian rebellion. Say goodbye to all you Machiavellians. Let evil destroy itself. I'm bound for Shangri-La. Shangri-La. I'll let you be in my dream if I could be in yours. I'll let you be in my dream if I could be in yours. As prophetic as morning doves, as groundhogs, as fallen stars above. Sophia wrote it down, built an ark, now we're floating it down a river dark. As prophetic as white wolves, as butterflies, Sophia sings it now. We built a plane, now we're taking flight above a river